Thank you everyone for joining us for another monthly meeting. It is September. We are making great progress. I'm feeling super encouraged and I'm really excited to share with you what I know about our progress. So let's get going. As usual, I tape this recording about our progress. We may or may not go into breakout rooms, but we will definitely have an open discussion after my presentation. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, the End Kidney Deaths Act is a 10-year pilot program that will provide for every American who donates a kidney to a stranger at the top of the kidney wait list a refundable tax credit of $10,000 each year for 5 years, or $50,000 in total. And we estimate that by the 10th year of our 10-year pilot program, we will have saved the lives of 100,000 Americans, and we will also have saved taxpayers around $37 billion. So what is our 2024 strategy? It's about sprinting. We really have only 4 months left. And so luckily I ran track as a sprinter, so I'm familiar with how to sprint. And I'm just really geared up for getting this to the finish. So I see this End Kidney Deaths Act journey as a hero's journey. And in that way, it's important to know that heroes' journeys are characterized by adventure, which is what we're engaged in now, victory, which is what we will have at the White House signing ceremony, and of course, transformation, country into one where no one will die while waiting for a life-saving kidney. That's the world that we all want to live in. So please join us on this hero's journey. Now, how many meetings have we had so far? 158 House representatives and 76 senators. So that's 44% of all congressional leaders. We got to hit those other 56% and get into their offices and explain to them about the End Kidney Deaths Act, because when we have those meetings, we gain supporters. Pretty much across the board, everyone I've spoken to about this legislation is in favor of it. They think it's a great idea. So the idea is, let's meet with as many as we can, if not all congressional members. So that way, once it's time for voting, we're going to have a lot of people saying yes to this opportunity to save both lives and tax money. Last time we spoke, we were just on the verge of having the bill introduced into the House of Representatives. Our co-leads are excellent. Representative Maliotakis from New York, Josh Harder from California. Maliotakis is on the Ways and Means Committee. That is the key committee of jurisdiction where the bill will be voted on. So it's great that we have representation there. Our sponsors are Representative Bacon from Nebraska and Representative Nichols from Colorado. And I've also been in conversations with Representative Peltola from Alaska and Davis from North Carolina. They're both interested in becoming co-sponsors. Of course, we need far more co-sponsors than this, but this is a really good beginning. So that's our main ask, is for the House leaders to become co-sponsors of the legislation. Now, we've had a lot of really good media exposure in the past month. I'm really excited about this because this is how we grow our community, and also legislators so they know voters want this to happen. And it's our way of translating to the congressional leaders that this is a very popular bill. So just yesterday, the Houston Chronicle did a story about the End Kidney Deaths Act, highlighting the advocacy of Tom O'Driscoll. He's on the call, and thank you so much, Tom. You actually show up here twice, which is super, because Houston is one of the most populated areas in the country. So lots of people have read that article, and I'm also sending it to everyone in the Texas congressional delegation, so they know that Houston voters are listening and paying attention to this issue. On the Freakonomics episode, the last one that was aired, there was a 1 minute or 2 minute shout out in the End Kidney Deaths Act, because Steve Levitt is one of our supporters and he's one of the hosts of Freakonomics. In fact, both hosts of Freakonomics are on our supporters page. There's a super radio segment about the End Kidney Deaths Act on National Public Radio, a really good televised story on Fox 5 New York. And then there was Lunch for the Soul, a videotaped interview with Tom O'Driscoll in Houston. And then we had the great Ron Shmaskin write about organ sales are not the enemy in his local paper, which is super. NBC Washington did a quick story about it. They're working on a much longer story about it. So that's going to be really exciting, because we like those DC-centered stories, because that's where the congressional leaders are living. Also sent, I think it's Kiplinger Tax Newsletter wrote about us. And then there was a very, very intensive article about the details of our bill and the Signal's brief, excellent story. And then in the district where Josh Harder, our co-lead, lives, there was a story about the End-Kidney Death Act. Expect many more stories to come forward, and we would love it if you could work on developing stories in your own local area. I believe that the local stories are more persuasive than those that are national in terms of getting congressional members to support us. So let's get more media attention. This is good, and we can do even better. So a lot of good stuff to learn about how we can pass this bill this year. It's good to know that all legislation concerning taxes must originate in the House of Representatives, and that's constitutional. And so the first step has to be that our bill is voted on in the Ways and Means Committee, but we're not even at that phase yet. Right now, if you look at the bill's text online, the bill was put out for two different committees to look at. So the Energy and Commerce and the Ways and Means Committee. And then the Energy and Commerce Committee needs to translate that they need to communicate that they are not the right committee for that bill, but the Ways and Means Committee. So when next week, I'm going to be speaking with the co-leads about how to quickly get it into the Ways and Means Committee so that we can begin trying to vote on the bill. Now, many times bills are introduced and never voted on for years. They may go by. That is not going to be the story for our bill. In our case, we're going to make sure that the Ways and Means Committee reads it, votes on it, and we need to get a Congressional Budget Office score. This is something that's asked for in many of my congressional meetings. This is just how much will the bill cost? How much will the bill save? And again, similar to the thing that I just said, that a lot of bills float around and they never get voted on. A lot of bills float around and never get that CBO score, that Congressional Budget Office score. We have to make sure that ours gets it. And the only way to do that is for us to continue to contact our congressional leaders and tell them we want this bill passed this year. Once it passes through the Ways and Means Committee, then it's voted on by every House member on the floor. Then the bill goes over to the Senate Finance Committee, where we already have allies on that committee who are in favor of the bill. We need more of them, of course. Then once it's voted on the Senate Finance Committee, it goes to the full Senate, and then it gets signed by the president. So you may look at this and think, wow, that is a lot to do in 4 months. And that is true. But as I showed you at our very first meeting, a bill has passed in 3 days. So even though ours won't pass in 3 days, it can happen quickly if we have the national momentum behind it. And that's what we're building. So here we are. And yes, we have time for all of these steps to be completed in 2024. Too many lives are being lost, and we are using our persuasive skills to get our legislation to the finish line. Now, I would say most of us in this community have been witnesses to this point and not active participants. I would like for you to switch gears for the last 4 months of this year and really be a participant in this movement. If we got everyone to be a participant, then there's no doubt in my mind that this bill would pass very quickly. So as I've said many times before, our biggest focus is Congress. We need everyone to contact our House representatives and senators, ask them to champion the legislation, and get other people to do the same. If you live with someone or you have close friends nearby who you think would say yes to it, please get them to also pitch in and send the letters. And we've made it much easier, and I'll show you in a minute. So we have made this great leap forward. I am over the moon happy about this one because we have something called an action button, which makes it very easy to contact our legislators. I will give you the link for the action button, and we're actually going to do it here during the meeting to make sure that everyone does it. It's very easy. When you push the action button, what will come up is past End-Kidney Death Act, and you click edit and send email. From here, you just are going to type in your mailing address, and then it'll determine who are your representatives. After that comes up the letter, which you'll be able to read, but it's basically a summary of everything that we know about the End-Kidney Death Act, and that it's going to be and that it's very much needed now. And I would like for you to share this action button with everyone you've ever met on social media and emails to your community. All you need to do is type your mailing address. It's not a hard thing to do, and hopefully will go very smoothly. So please use that action. So I sent out the action button to the community on Saturday, and we have had 183 emails sent since then. So that's good progress. We just need far, far more. This is the way to communicate to our leaders that we want this bill to be voted on. Now, I was once in a conversation with the assistant to the New York City mayor, who told me every time they receive a letter, they assume that 10,000 people agree with that person who's sending the letter. Perhaps on the federal level, it's an even bigger number, but sending one letter is not just one letter from one person. It's interpreted as a portion of the community agrees with this letter writer. So getting our voices out there, very, very important. If you do post on social media, please send me a quick email so I can comment on the post. Oftentimes, people will write things in the comment section after people post about the End Kidney Deaths Act, and someone should respond to them. If you feel comfortable responding to them, that's great. I also feel very comfortable responding to people. So if you want to loop me in, I would be very grateful. And that way I can do my best to persuade people to become team members. So let's talk about Lobby Day. That's coming up next Thursday. Super excited about that. We're making beautiful progress on that front. We have 44 meetings scheduled on Lobby Day itself. That's September 12th. We have 28 attendees so far, and we're going to have a noon to 1 rally that day. And I'm asking people to speak at the rally, but so far I'm very excited that Adder Oaks, who's on this call, will be meeting his recipient Eric for the first time, and I'm trying to get press coverage for that. Representative Bacon, who is from Nebraska, and he is an original co-sponsor of the bill. His legislative director, Matt, who is a liver recipient, has volunteered to speak with us. He's really excited about the legislation. And we have Lindsay, who is a double donor of both her liver and kidney. And Lindsay was Miss Veteran America and Miss Achievement USA, and she will also be speaking. We'll have other speakers in addition. It's going to be a rally in Section 8. So if you are not able to come to Lobby Day, but you live in the DC area and can come just for the rally, just let me know and I will send you the map of where we will be. For those who are attending Lobby Day, I'm going to send you all of the information. So how can we help? Scheduling meetings with the congressional leaders, either on Lobby Day or on different days. Growing community by speaking, posting, and sharing about the End Kidney Deaths Act, seeking media attention, something I spoke about earlier, and handing out flyers. If you need flyers, I can send them to you. I've sent them to a number of community members. You can stand outside the community centers, dialysis centers, and pass out flyers. And of course, our next meeting is Tuesday, October 1st from 5 to 6.